Last time we did it of the year top 10 movies you might not have seen that we liked, that we watched on the ceiling of the year last year. But really, since we just got it last year, it was probably only like 6 months. So we decided
is a 4-month.
to do one of more recent ones that we've done. So here is our top 10 movies that we've watched recently on the ceiling that you might not have seen.
Or that maybe you should watch again.
It's possible. Because this one's the one that I think a lot of people have seen if you grew up in the 80s and early 90s. It is called
Summer School.
And the cover makes it look bad.
This dog doesn't really have anything to do with the movie.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I didn't realize what this movie was. I had seen this when I was younger, but I didn't realize what the movie was by the cover, because I associate this movie with a very specific scene where these two boys scare a substitute teacher by making it seem like everybody in the class has been murdered using special effects gore. And it was this movie when I was little that made me want to be a special effects artist. But my stepdad told me that only fags do that. And I said, damn. Damn it.
Dang it.
And I had to start sucking dick. This movie's good. This movie is a very quality 80s fun movie. But really it's that scene that like steals the show. It's like the best scene ever.
And Kirstie Alley is in it, and she's pretty.
Yeah, if you like Kirstie Alley, she's pretty. Next up is... Here.
Next up is The Pit.
The Pit. Can you get close up? Here, I can do it. It's hard to tell. There's a little boy with his bear. This one was recommended to us by...
He's not actually a little boy. He's like a teenager. He's like 13.
He looks like Tommy.
Or 12. He's right. Like very, very... pubescent, like his voice.
Yeah, he's going through puberty. That's like kind of like the thing about the movie. This was recommended by James Marshall, or James Id, as he would like to be called. He's the only one that watches these, so hey James. The Pit was a great weird movie. It was one of multiple movies horror movies about children that we watched. And was very reminiscent of my pick from last time, which was a little movie called Extra.
Ugh. But it also has like the feel of 70s movies where it's like they're really trying to do a lot.
It really seems, so the movie's kind of about this kid who's
and
coming...
no one's wearing a bra. People are, it's like jogging's huge. No bra.
This little kid's coming to terms with his sexuality, essentially. And he's a total pervert. And it's all kind of like an analogy. So there's a pit that he discovers, which I, for the longest time, thought was just going to be only in his head, but then I think it kind of went out of control. So there's a pit of these beasts, and he lures people to them.
Well, he calls them tralalogs. Tralalogs. And also, this is Canadian, so and everyone's really sorry about everything.
He has a bear who speaks to him in his own voice.
Yeah, Teddy.
But like softer. And some of the highlights of the movie is he kills the girl next door that he doesn't like, and then, but first, before he does that, he calls up her aunt,
yeah,
who's the school librarian, and says in his own voice.
Well, he's got a recording going.
In his own voice, the recording is calling and saying, "Hey, I have your niece, and I've kidnapped her. Now, if you want her back, I want you to strip." And then he like makes her strip, and he's like, it's really, the movie doesn't understand what it wants to be, it seems, because the whole time all these horrible, horrible things are happening, there's like kind of happy music playing, and the whole time this little boy's like all happily like taking pictures of this woman who's completely traumatized stripping in front of her open window because she thinks that her niece is gonna get killed. And eventually his demons in the pit run rampant and start killing everybody. But it's actually a really
Which is an analogy for his sexual desires.
And then it kind of loses control. The pictures on the back don't even happen in the movie, I don't think. But
Trollocs.
I liked it. One of two children's horror.
Trollocs.
Not children's horror, but horrible children themes. Next up,
Trollocs.
This is a good one.
Oh.
So this was actually should have been in the thing from last time, but I lost this movie because, as you can see, it was actually in a slipcase. Like, it was so cheaply done that it wasn't even in a DVD case. It was just a sleeve with a DVD in it. So it got lost between some DVDs. But first off, I'd like to point out the fact that you see this, and it looks like, you got Mortal Kombat kids or whatever. They're Asian.
3 little kids.
3 little male Asian boys, all dressed like this, with what looks like different weapons that they just found around the house. You got a broom, a plunger, and a can of spray that says scat. That says scat on it, which is interesting. That never happens in the movie. There's nothing remotely like this in the movie whatsoever. This movie is about 2 teenage kids. One of them's a girl, one of them's a boy, and then one of them's like a shorter little boy. And they go around...
All white.
All white. They go around on rollerblades fighting crime because their sensei tells them to. The majority of the movie, I'd say at least 30% of the movie is just them going like this. Ha! Yeah!
Practicing.
Ha!
With really weird masks that look like the guy from Saw.
Yeah, they're like some sort of like dragon masks or something. And
well, that's what they call them.
The story doesn't make sense. Also, one of the bad guys in it who's only in dream sequences. Remember? He's not actually in the...
Robert Zdar. Z-D-A-R. Look him up.
He's the guy with the really huge jaw that looks kind of deformed, who's in, he's in a lot of movies. He's the Maniac Cop.
Look, and his lips are even like this.
He's Maniac Cop.
He's Maniac Cop.
What else is he?
He's in Samurai Cop.
He's in Samurai Cop. He's the bad guy from Samurai Cop. He's in dream sequences when they start reading a comic book. It doesn't make any sense. And there's one part in the movie where he starts jumping on balloons. But I don't mean jumping on, like, popping them. I mean jumping into the air and then gently bouncing off of balloons for whatever reason. Doesn't make a bit of sense, and it was quite great.
It was definitely watchable for how completely...
The fiercest fighting force under 4 feet. I guarantee
none of them are under 4 feet.
They were all over 4 feet.
Yeah.
It's seriously, you should check it out. I believe it was actually made by the guy who did all like the karate stuff in the movie. Karate. Here you go.
Next up, The Rock. Ed Wood of the 21st century. We had seen like this guy for a little bit in a documentary about VHS tapes and how once they came out and once it got popular and then everybody could make stuff on VHS, and so this guy was in it, and his like little part was awesome. But this whole movie is about him, and he is amazing. I could watch him talk for hours.
He's incredibly entertaining. So it's a documentary, and it's essentially like, it documents that. So there's this guy, and he's been making like lower than low budget, like no budget films, like the kind of films that you made with your friend in like middle school. Like, but he's a grown man. He's a little.
He seems like he's functionally retarded, but he was in the army. He was in Vietnam.
Yeah,
he talks about like being with prostitutes, which seems like
he kind of reminds me of like your uncle in a way. Like he's innocent.
Yeah,
he's like innocent. He's all there. He's innocent, but there's something that's just off. I don't know what it is.
Something that didn't mature.
But
and he lives with his mom.
Of course.
He has a girlfriend that is also.
She's a little
slow.
But it's so entertaining. Like The guy is so entertaining. You could hear him talk about nonsense for the whole movie.
And he grew up really religious, and he went to a religious college, but then he started watching horror movies, and he got really into them. And he talks about picking up this, or getting, like, carjacked or something, which is already, like, a shady story, because why was he, like, out at 5 in the morning in a, like, a known area of...
Yeah, he got caught in the ghetto at 4 in the morning, got carjacked in a, like, an odd area.
And
the guy carjacked him, and then...
He's like, do you want to... He's like... The way that he says it, you want to suck my thing? And I was like, well, I'm not really into that. And I think it's a sin.
He's really religious, but there's all these conflicting things.
Yeah, he's not mean.
He's funny. The guy is just super, super entertaining. In his, we tried to, the DVD actually comes, I got this super cheap, new at Amoeba Records. It comes with the documentary, and then it also comes with a full-length movie of...
So horrible.
Of one of, I guess, the movie, this is upside down. It's shown a lot throughout the movie, called Werewolf and the Witch.
You could not guess how... It is like a child made it.
I loved it, and I wanted to watch the whole thing, but Danielle made me turn it off because she couldn't deal with it. It's so entertaining. I don't know. It's great. I highly recommend this one. This one's good. Maybe it'll eventually be on Netflix soon, because it seems like it'd be right up that alley. Next up is one that we talked about in a recent podcast. It is called Boarding House. And this might be my favorite movie of all the movies that we watched. I didn't know anything about this movie. We just put it in one day. I bought it. I buy a lot of just, like, 80s. I just, like, go on Amazon and search by decade horror, and I buy whatever's cheap, or whatever has, a few stars at least. And I knew nothing about it. I didn't realize that it was like a classic, or soon to be classic, super low budget horror movie. It was one of the first VHS
from
movies.
The picture that looks like a pretty cool poster. I was like, yeah, put it in. And then when it started, and it's clearly mostly made with a camcorder, I was like, no.
We found out soon after the movie was over that the movie was actually made and produced by the two main people in the movie, the guy on the back and the lady on the front. This is his wife.
Her name's Calla Sue.
And they have a band, and the band is in the movie. The movie is really, really great. It makes little to no sense. Essentially, the story is there's a house, and it's maybe cursed. You don't know. You just see a hand, a gloved hand go, and then a guy puts his hand in a garbage disposal. And like...
Yeah, he moves into the house. He puts an ad in the paper. He wants girls to live
The ad, like, literally says, like, hot chicks only, live together with me.
And he is, like, has, like, he's worked out and stuff, and, like, his hair is dyed, but he really looks like, Siegfried or Roy or whoever the blonde one is.
He does. And turns out, like, he's been harnessing his psychic powers. That's like the underlying theme of the whole movie, is that everybody has psychic powers, but they just need to tap into it.
So who could be the killer?
And he teaches one of his wife in the movie, but not in the movie, in real life, how to also harness her psychic powers. And the psychic powers go a little something like this. And then you open your eyes really big, and then things move. There's a lot of scantily clad women. Lots of scantily clad women. Random murders. I don't remember if the gore was that good. The acting is just terribly awesome.
The outfits are pretty good.
He plays multiple roles. He also plays the
gardener.
The gardener who looks like Gigi Allen before he shaved his head.
Arm in a sling, but the sling is made out of chains.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And I don't want to spoil the ending, but there's heavy breathing involved and psychic powers. It's good. This is my favorite. This is my pick of the decade. Boarding House. Whoop whoop. It was shot on VHS. And I guess it was like the first VHS movie to come out in theaters. Of course, not that many theaters, but recommended. In the beginning, it like gives you a warning. When you see flashing lights or this gloved hand, turn away from the screen. For no reason.
And I did. Next up, Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. This is amazing from start to finish.
The dialogue, I've never seen a movie with dialogue. Like,
Can I just spoil one dialogue?
What? Go for it.
Something like crazy happens and stressful, and this guy that doesn't really know this girl looks at her and goes, "How about I take you home and eat your pussy?"
Yeah. I don't know if he actually does or not.
Oh. Who turns down that sort of offer?
So, that is a good example of the dialogue in the movie. The movie is actually, like, pretty well produced for the most part. It's a Jaws type movie. And it's
the footage of the shark is like the same shark over and over again, and then the noise that it makes, the noise that it makes is like a bear or something.
It sounds like a pit bull grunting.
Yeah, it's very snorty.
But that's the thing. Like, this is one of those movies that functioned on every level except for audio.
The marine biologist.
The audio. It seemed like maybe they lost most of the audio, or they just like couldn't pick up the audio, so they had to go and record it, and like the same guy's doing a lot of the different audio for no reason.
And it doesn't match their facial looks. Are you going to get
that? Or like people will be like, there's one part where someone is talking to nobody, and she's like, "Hey, have you seen the blah 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 blah?" And then like somebody will be like right over here, and she goes, "There you are." It's.
You gotta watch it. It's worth watching.
And there's a chance that if you've seen like random clips online of a giant shark eating a boat,
it's from that.
It's from this, and the grand finale goes into this whole insanely low budget CG shark eating really
the best
large
part
things.
Is when he takes a picture of the tooth.
Oh yeah.
He takes a picture with a digital camera of the shark tooth that they found. This like huge tooth. It magically shows up on his computer, and was this like early 2000s?
Uh-huh.
Magically shows up on his computer with a white background, like he scanned it, and then he
clicks a button and it uploads to a website and searches through to see what shark it's from.
Technology.
It's good. This is a good one. This was actually hard to find. I had to pay more than what I would want to pay for something like this, but I heard good things, and in the end it was good.
It did not disappoint.
Next up, another kid-themed one. This one's called Bloody Birthday. Look at the fingers coming out of the cake. This is another one that...
There's a picture that absolutely has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. See the kids?
See the candles on her chest?
Those aren't even the kids. And there aren't 4 kids. There's only 3. Okay.
No, well, there's 3 bad ones, and then there's one good one.
Yeah, but he's not with them. Look, they're all trying to kill the woman. So,
oh yeah, this tall kid isn't...
None of these kids are in the movie. Look at the girl. Okay, so this movie...
Late 70s again.
Yeah. It's about... It's one of many movies that has the ongoing theme of the zodiac.
Yeah.
Like, what's your zodiac sign?
All these kids were born...
on the same day, like within the same hour... So they have the exact same zodiac sign, and the zodiac sign happens to be evil. Yeah. And they have no remorse, no feelings.
That's what you should say next time somebody asks you what sign you are. I was born during an eclipse, and I'm evil.
So, essentially, there's a blonde girl, a kid with glasses, and a blonde kid. And they're evil, and they're going around killing people. But
like
the blonde girl... The blonde girl happens to also have she has a peephole in her closet that goes into her sister's bedroom.
Oh yeah, and her sister is...
Julie Brown. Not downtown Julie Brown, but the
other
first
Julie
Brown.
From like Earth Girls Are Easy.
You see her boobs.
You see her boobs.
And she
strips.
For a quarter. For a quarter you get to see her boobs. I had to pay more than a quarter to see her boobs. But it was worth it. But yeah, so this girl's... It's like the pervert child theme. Like every single horror movie that in the 80s that was made with children as like the killers, they're also perverts.
Well, that's the way it usually is.
Spoiler: she shoots an arrow through the peephole.
into what, you'll have to see for yourself.
You'll have to find that one out for yourself. But yeah, this is a good one. The kids acting is pretty funny, and yeah, I mean anything with a bunch of kids killing a bunch of people is always good. Another one I recommend, mostly for the end, is a Trauma produced, or a Trauma, I guess it's not really produced, but they publish it, they distribute it. It's called Beware Children at Play. And it has one of the best endings ever in any movie ever.
I don't think I've seen that.
Where they kill all the kids.
Have I seen that?
Just Google it. Beware Children at Play.
I've just seen, like, the clip.
Beware Children at Play ending. Me and my cousin watched the hell out of that. Alright, next up. You want to do this one? Next
up. This is a new movie, surprisingly.
Yeah, it's new.
2011. Woman.
This was good. This was, I don't even know why I bought it. It must have just been really cheap.
I think somebody recommended it, I thought.
It's possible. But
not every monster lives in the wild.
Didn't know what to expect.
Except that she did live in the wild.
Yeah, but not oh yeah, So
not every most women are monsters. Some live in the wild.
So the movie starts out, and we were like, "What's going on here?" The movie starts out with this guy.
Somebody might watch this since it's newer, so we shouldn't like spoil it.
Well, we'll just give a little tease.
Okay.
This guy goes hunting in the forest, and he sees this scantily clad, very filthy woman. She must stink bad.
If you've seen May, this is the same guy that did May, and then
and May's in it.
Yeah, and then the lady that plays May, what's her name?
Yeah, another quality movie by the guy that made May. Guy goes out, sees a scantily clad, very filthy woman.
Bettis.
Who looks kind of like Mila Jovovich.
Yeah,
or however you say her name.
She's really pretty if you
Jovich.
Google her without...
and he's like obsessed with her. And he instantly knows that, okay, she's a feral woman, and I need her. So he goes back home, and it's kind of like, I guess it's supposed to be like an American family commentary, like the wholesome American family they're Christian and whatever else. Yeah, because he's
going out hunting by himself.
And the wife, he obviously like beats his wife, and she's all broken, and the daughter's really passive too.
Oh, but the son is like a little creep.
Is a creep, pervert, again. Pervert, goes with the theme. And he child perverts. And he goes and he basically steals this woman from the wild and ties her up in this makeshift basement, and they just basically torture her. But it has a great ending, and it's a really good movie. It's pretty quality. It's not like these other movies. Like, this is an actual, like, I guess it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
It takes itself seriously. It's not some campy, weird, bad movie. This is a real horror movie for a change.
It's good.
It was good. Good enough to get in our top 10. You could do this one.
This movie is Paper Moon. This is one that I watched on Netflix a couple years ago with Ed was probably working, and then I always wanted him to watch it, but he was never paying attention, and then I thought, this is the perfect time to watch a movie like this while we're laying and you can't do anything else but pay attention to the movie. So it was made in the 70s, but it's like meant to look like the Dust Bowl Depression era, black and white.
This was the movie that Tatum O'Neal won an Oscar for?
Yeah, when she was like 10 or something.
And it ruined her.
Well, yeah.
For life.
Probably also that her dad is Ryan O'Neal ruined her too. But they're so good together. It's so good. It's about a little orphan girl who's like a total tomboy, and she's very funny and really cute. And she gets picked up by someone who could possibly be her father, because he dated her mother at some point in time. And it implies that her mom might have been a prostitute.
Yeah, and he goes with prostitutes though. Yeah. But he's a con man, and basically she learns to also be a con man through him. And it's very good. It's all black and white. The acting is superb. Obviously, she won an award, and it's endearing. It's a very sweet movie, and I did like it a lot. It was good. It's
what I told you before. I was like, it's like Kikujiro, and it's some sort of like it's like a traveling kind of an adventure with lessons.
A family.
But this
adventure.
Is on Netflix.
Very cute movie. Very good. And last up for the top 10, we've got Mom and Dad Save the World.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
This could possibly be my favorite Jon Lovitz movie. Fun fact, we shortly after this saw his movie...
Hollywood High.
Hollywood High. That was awful. Awful. Awful movie.
Yeah.
Not in any of the good ways. Like, it didn't even get better. Even the fact that it was horribly racist wasn't funny.
Yeah, like, oh, if you watch that, there's no way they would get away with that stuff now.
It was, yeah. Anyway, so this movie is kind of like, it reminded me of Forbidden Zone in some ways.
It's got the dad from Beetlejuice. The mom seems familiar. Oh god, I'm just remembering, like, the dumb people.
Yeah.
Kathy Ireland is
There's a planet full of dumb people, and Jon Lovitz is their king, and they're going to blow up the Earth.
The dumb, beautiful people.
Oh, yeah. But they're all dumb. They're going to blow up the Earth, but then while he's getting ready to blow up the Earth, he sees this middle-aged mom.
Yeah, I posted a video of this on my Instagram.
Like, doing leg lifts by the pool.
Yeah, she's doing, like, her calisthenics or whatever by the pool in her, like, sweats, and she's very much like a housewife mom. And he's like, look at those curves.
It's good. And then they beam both her and her husband up to the planet. They put him in the dungeon, and they, of course he wants to marry her, and the husband has to, bust her out.
But Jon Lovitz he's so funny in it.
He's very funny, and the special effects and the puppets are actually really good.
Yeah, it was good.
They don't really make movies like this anymore, like really oddball.
Because this was just like an HBO
almost
movie
Jim
or
Henson
something.
puppety movies on another planet. It reminded kind of me of
Todd Spango.
Yeah, it was like a cross between. It had elements of Forbidden Zone, of course not. It wasn't musical, but like I don't know. There's something reminding me of it.
Oh yeah, and the aliens. There's cute fish and bulldogs.
Yeah,
are like the servant people.
It was good.
Yeah.
And next up are our personal top twos that it's not necessarily this time that we didn't agree that these were good, because these were good, but I'll go first.
Usually the ones he picks that are good are ones that I couldn't stand that other one.
This is Wang Wang. You've probably seen him online. He's a primordial dwarf. So he's like a proportioned tiny person. Looks like a child. He has really creepy kind of small hands.
Except he's actually old, so he is balding, even though he has like this crazy bowl cut.
And it's essentially that he is James Bond. That's the
He has
bit.
Gross little ashy hands. Like his hands look like little gnarled hands.
And like he macks on the ladies. There's a part we did post this where he
his
bursts.
Big nipples.
He does. He bursts into this random woman's hotel room to escape from being killed. But before he does, he crawls up on the bed to her and makes out with her before he leaves.
If that little thing was crawling towards you on a bed, you'd be scared.
Then shortly after, he just jumps out the window with a parachute, and then you see this
Not a
ragdoll.
Parachute.
Oh yeah,
an umbrella.
It was an umbrella, and you just see this little ragdoll flying. They throw him around a lot. It's pretty good. I really like this movie.
Now, I enjoyed this while we were watching it.
He's tough. He's tender. He's 3 feet tall.
I enjoyed this while we were watching it, but if it wasn't for Ed, I would have not. Rarely do we watch a whole movie in a night, so we have to come back to it the next night, and then we'll start another movie usually. But this one, I was like, oh, I don't want to start it again, and it might have took us 3 nights to finish it.
It's unrated.
And what are they in? Are they
Filipino.
The people all look so different.
Yeah. It's good. All right, you're up.
No, you do both yours.
Both mine. Next up, Hollywood Cop. I saw this on quite a few top whatever most worstest movies.
Oh, okay, now ugh.
And one of the reasons why you don't like it, it's very reminiscent of
Samurai Cop.
Samurai Cop. It's very dry bad.
Like, I know what's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be a bad guy, and there's some other bad guys, and there's guns.
Yeah, there's like a boss guy. It's hard to say what made this movie good, but I'd say the really terrible acting. There was a little kid in the movie who talks to a dog.
And the dog is like a big old Doberman Pinscher, and it's actually kind of scary.
I
you
believe
can tell he's a little bit
scared. If I remember correctly, I believe there's a part in the movie where someone's running with the boy, and then they fall and fall on him.
Yeah.
And this guy punches the little boy in the face, and he gets a black eye. And there's all this weird stuff too, like the little boy doesn't have a father, and the father runs off. The dad
ran away, and that's why the little boy is kidnapped because
Here's the story, if I can remember correctly. The dad,
because you do not want to watch this.
The father, he stole money from some sort of drug cartel
that he was working
for, and then stashed it in their house or something, and then he split. Why?
Which doesn't even make sense, because when they find him, he's like living it up on a boat.
Yeah, I know.
Had to have his
with
money.
A bunch of women.
Yeah.
So they actually come. When they come to get their money, of course they kidnap the little kid, and the guy's gone. They can't find him. Later in the movie, they find him, and the father has to have this talk with his son.
The Hollywood cop finds him.
But yeah, the Hollywood cop finds him.
He's a blonde guy.
He's a big blonde dude.
Ooh.
He's tough. So they find. So at some point, the father and the son reunite, and the son's like, "What's going on?" And he goes, "You don't understand. I had to leave because I have blood cancer."
Blood cancer.
And then he's like, "What?" And he goes, "But don't worry, I got all your presents in the attic."
I did. He goes, I did leave you a present. It's in the attic.
We don't know if that's true. I don't believe they ever find that out.
No, they go up there and the present is the money.
Oh, the present is the money.
Yeah, which makes absolutely no sense because he was living it up with the money.
But and also when the Hollywood cop is trying to cover,
the mom is a complete idiot.
Yeah, when the Hollywood cop's trying to he's being shot at and he's trying to cover the woman. And when he covers her body with his body, his ass is way up in the air. His ass. That's all I can remember is that ass.
Shoot my butt.
Let my butt save us. Hollywood Cop. Check it out.
Ugh. I don't know who that is. Who's
she's
that?
not in the movie. She's definitely not in the movie. If you like Samurai Cop, you'll probably like this too.
Yeah, if you like a piece of shit like Samurai Cop, you'll probably like that too.
Go.
And my 2 picks.
Here, wait. Let's pause it real quick. Here we go.
And my 2 picks. I'll do this one first. The Boneyard.
Did you pick it because there's a poodle on the cover?
Yeah. That's my favorite dog, a standard poodle. I didn't... It's not that it was such a great movie, but I really liked the main lady, who's not on here. The main character is a woman who's really tall and pretty overweight, which I thought was amazing. And also she's important and is a psychic or something.
Yeah, it is kind of odd in the movie like that to have this woman who's so large.
So large, and they're coming to her for help, they need
and she's
her.
A psychic, but there's absolutely nothing significant about the fact that she's a woman or that she's super large.
But she looks so squishy, she'd give you a great big hug.
Yeah, this is Danielle's mom fantasy.
So, the other thing I liked was Phyllis Diller's in it.
And she shows her real hair.
Yeah, she's not wearing a wig.
Or what's left of it.
Yeah. And then, the main thing is the creatures. I don't know if you can... Holy God, they're so terrifying. I think they're ghouls.
Yeah, the special effects of the movie, obviously what made it. That's why they put that on the cover. The puppets in the movie are really, really good. Which I
completely forgot about that this was on the cover until it happens later.
It's good. The gore is good. The puppets are terrifying. Everything about the special effects in this movie are good. It's a very traditional monster movie. You usually can't go wrong if the monsters are good. And they were. They're
very scary. They're children, also.
Yeah. They move around
Ghoul
really
of
creepy,
Children. Too. Okay, next. Intruder. This is about some people working at a grocery store, and then one of the checker's boyfriends like gets out of jail or something and is like harassing her, and then they all kick him out.
And then people start dying.
And then, but they're also, the two managers are there, and they're selling the store. I don't want to give it away in case somebody wants to watch it.
I'm actually a fan of
But then people start dying, and Sam Raimi and his brother Todd Raimi are in this.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell's in it for like the second. Totally insignificant. But,
I like movies that all take place in like one facility for the whole time.
And also, I think what I liked about it too is it's in the grocery store and it's in the 80s. I like seeing all the different packaging for everything and seeing stuff that's changed and stuff that hasn't. So if you're into that, you might.
It's a traditional slasher movie. Lots of people die in lots of different ways.
Is it Ted Raimi or Todd Raimi?
I don't remember. I think it's Ted.
I think he's great. I like his face.
And next up are our worst movies. Worst movies! And some of these movies were movies that were recommended as bad movies to watch. And everybody has a different idea of what a good bad movie is. And these movies are a good example of bad movies that don't have much redeeming value. And I'm going to start with probably the worst because it was so hard to watch. A little movie called Axum. And as you can see, this was used, which usually means if it's used, I had to pay a little more for it than I wanted. This movie...
And yes, it's called Axum because they're black people.
Yep. This movie is a independently produced urban film, half shot on film, half shot on VHS. They didn't mic anyone. So it's all being all the audio is being recorded by the microphone on the camera. Yeah, so you're not hearing anything.
The guy who's making it is a black guy. He's in college. His dad is like, actually, it was like a senator or something. He made the movie. He didn't title it Axum.
He didn't.
The person who later bought it to try and release it as a terrible movie called it Axum.
We couldn't finish this movie because
you can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything. So they have what they could have. It could have been really entertaining dialogue. You know, they've got this thing going around the table. Everybody's talking smack, and they're eating, but we can't hear it.
Oh, there's a whole stomp performance and Yo Mama jokes.
There are a lot of Yo Mama jokes. It started out pretty good, and then you couldn't hear anything. And there are times where it goes from like okay quality film to like atrociously bad VHS quality film that looks like it's been just ripped apart.
Yeah, and I'm also not sure what the bad guy.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, we're still going to keep this movie. I mean, usually I like to get rid of the really bad ones, but this is one that I want to keep just because it's so bad that it's an example of a bad movie because it's so unwatchable. But, you know, maybe it gets better. I don't know. See, the fact that we didn't finish it makes me wonder that maybe the audio quality is better.
Maybe we'll put it on in the living room while we're doing other stuff.
Maybe. Next up, we're going with Black Theme?
Yeah.
Here's the next on the list of urban films that are bad.
Don't be scared.
This is produced by Master P. Tommy's a fan. Tommy's a fan of Master P.
Ugh, this bothers me. Look, 2 names over here. Why? What?
It's Master P and his son. So
and no one else.
So this is one of multiple movies that we have purchased and watched that are produced and written and directed.
Master P and a very young college girl
by Master P. All of the movies
Master P loves white people.
Yeah, it's true. All of the movies that we've seen that have been produced by Master P basically is just like, I guess, just what he thinks white people are. Murderers. The story of Don't Be Scared is there is a Halloween party. And all these white kids are having this Halloween party. And there's a black guy, and he comes over, and these 2 white kids, they kill him, and they bury him in the backyard. And they tell everybody he was trying to break into their house. So, years later, they don't age. They're pretty much wearing the same clothes, too. Years later,
Yeah, they are.
they have another Halloween party in the same house, the same people, and they invite a black guy over, and his name is Master P. And
even though he's a jillion years older than all the people.
And I think they're gonna kill him again. We didn't get through this movie. They think they're gonna kill him again.
They like him.
They're gonna.
I thought.
No. I think they're gonna try to kill him again. And Romeo, Master P's son, and his friends are in the other room.
Yeah, they're in the room.
They're the younger kids. And they use this ring to summon the ghost of the other black guy that got killed in the house years before.
It's a ring. Was it a hula hoop?
It was a hula hoop.
Or was it bigger though?
And get this, first they summon Michael Jackson.
Yeah. So you get to see a Michael Jackson
poster. It was before he died too, which is really weird.
Cold.
Again, not getting rid of this movie because I didn't get all the way through it.
And we have a collection of his movies now.
Yeah, and there is something endearing about his movies. I really like the fact that
he's really obviously wanted to make his son famous.
Yeah, he's obviously a really successful guy musically. And he's like, fuck it, I got money, I want to make movies. And then he just did what he wanted to do with them.
But not everyone can be a Wayans brother. Sorry.
It's true, I tried. You can't really see him, but the other movie that we saw on here is called Crush on You. Oh. And then the one next to it we actually haven't seen next is called God's Gift. And both of them feature Romeo, of course. Crush on You was like a Nickelodeon movie. Essentially,
it looked like it was supposed to be a movie to launch this girl's career for us.
And then Danielle tweeted at her. Danielle tweeted at her when we watched it. She didn't respond.
She hasn't done anything else, and I'm sure she's super embarrassed because it was at a point where she was like an awkward, chubby preteen who loves Romeo. So, fun fact: I got this movie for $1 at Fry's, and it comes with the soundtrack. For Tommy. It's a bad one. Yeah.
Next up, here you go.
Next up, Karate Dog. And when we put this in, I didn't realize that
Chevy Chase is the voice of Karate Dog.
Chevy Chase is the voice of Karate Dog. I can't imagine why Simon Rex, Jamie Presley, I can kind of understand John Voight, but no one else. And Mr. Miyagi, I don't remember what his name is.
So this movie, I believe, was actually a made-for-TV movie. It probably came out on some...
Yeah, this film has been
NBC
approved by the Dove Foundation for Family Viewing. I think it was like an ABC movie.
So I heard it. It was, of course, on one of the lists of like the worst movies ever. And yeah, it was the worst movie ever, but it wasn't in a good way in any way. We had high hopes in the beginning when the dog's actually doing like kung fu and stuff. We hoped it would be really
when he's talking to the dog, and then people are like, "You're crazy" because the dog's not talking back.
But it was just bad. It was just so bad that we didn't finish it, and it goes with the theme.
Also,
movies we didn't finish.
I don't like Simon Rex's face.
This movie I want to get rid of. Not going to keep this movie.
Yeah, no.
No interest in this one. But the next one we might keep because Danielle probably wants to finish it. Because this is the one Danielle really wanted.
I've wanted to see this since we first started going out.
It's a little movie called Xanadu. So this is like a notorious box office bomb.
Not what I thought.
Was it late 70s or early 80s?
I don't know.
It was
80s.
It was supposed to be the next Grease.
Yeah. It has Gene Kelly in it. I had no idea. Why did he do that?
This movie didn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
The music wasn't good.
I thought it was going to be like this really cool, like, okay, it's called Xanadu.
And you go to another world?
I thought you were going to go to Xanadu.
Do. And we don't know that. Because as far as we got in the movie
and the guy is the guy from the Warriors, isn't he?
Back in the 80s, the guy from the Warriors...
The good guy.
...would paint large-scale pictures of popular albums, and that's what art he did for a living.
Yeah, he did Photoshop.
And he painted this picture of this girl, which I believe was just the cover of the movie, and he became obsessed with her, and he started seeing her appear on roller skates. Everybody's on fucking roller skates, and there's lots of singing, and it's really bad.
But Gene Kelly's in it.
That's it.
We had a mention.
We have a couple. Well, here's the real mention.
Okay, this is on a list of this guy has no chin.
I know, like fuck you, bitch. fuck you, bitch.
This movie is called Two Saved.
I bought this basically just for the title because
It's
I was
also
like,
family approved.
it was really confusing to me because I realized it was a religious movie, right? And
Lisa
usually those are great.
Has prayed for years that God would save her boyfriend Bobby. But when he finally sees the light, it's much more than Lisa bargained for. Is Bobby too saved?
Story goes, there is a black couple, and she goes to church all the time. He doesn't like church. He's kind of a thug. I believe he went to jail for drugs.
Yeah,
he's a bad guy.
He's stolen from his mom.
He stole from his mom. And she's like, please, God, please.
Look at his weak chin.
Please, God, please convert him and get him to come to church. She prays. He comes to church randomly, and he gets saved. Turns out he gets two saved.
And then he's like super embarrassing. Like, okay,
he becomes my father.
Yeah, you probably have somebody in your family who's like a born again Christian, and all of a sudden like they know everything. And he's like the waitress. They're at a restaurant, and the waitress goes, "Would you like something to drink?" And he's like, "We don't drink alcohol, and neither should you."
He gets super preachy, and he starts like running into his friends.
And then all of a sudden,
he's trying to convert all of his friends. And then he's like, "Oh yeah." The first thing he does is he gets back to the house, and he's like, she's like, "Hey, let's go to the bedroom." And he's like, "What do you mean?"
Like, I think we should wait.
We can't do that anymore. That's a sin. Oh, and then they win the lottery. And she's like, "I can't believe it. We won the lottery. We can finally get married." And he's like, "God says gambling is a sin." And she's like, "What?"
It's so weird though, because the whole time it's like, well, first I thought, oh, this is pretty good. We should show this to your dad. Maybe he'll get it. But then she keeps having like these valid points of how annoying he is and how he is too saved, and that's become his whole life. But everybody that she talks to, her mom, a deacon, is like, You're wrong.
You're in the wrong.
This is what you need to accept.
And the kicker, my favorite part is she goes to her mother and she says, "Mom, he's just like Dad. He's neglecting me because he wants to be a reverend because her father was a reverend." And she like doesn't like her dad because he put God in front of the whole family and she didn't get to spend any time with him. She didn't get to have a father, and now she feels like she's not going to have a husband because he wants to be a priest, essentially, and that's going to take up all of his life. And it actually concludes with her going to the wife of the leader of the whole place, the deacon or whatever, and saying like, "What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to deal with this?" I remember
the name because she says it constantly during the conversation.
What?
Deaconess Ford.
Deaconess Ford.
Deaconess Ford. Deaconess Ford. Deaconess Ford.
And the deacon's wife says, "Your husband's gonna neglect you, and it's gonna be bad. Deal with it." He's a man of God now.
Yeah, and it was
Fuck off.
It was basically like, this is what you wanted. This is what you were asking for. You can't have a little bit. He's been called. It was
entertaining in so many weird ways because the whole time you're thinking, this is like, be careful what you wish for. Now he's too saved. And I always thought in the end he's gonna like realize, oh, I took that too far. I was obsessed, and I just want to go back to our normal life. Nope, wrong.
No,
she's wrong.
Yeah, he's just fine. She's wrong.
She's wrong, and she's
not saved enough.
She's sinning because she's being selfish and she wants more of him, and he's supposed to be a man of God. And they rip up the fucking lottery ticket.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
We watched the whole thing.
Two saved. It was actually obviously it was watchable. Very, very, very weird message. Very, very weird message.
Yeah, I'm still confused.
Yep. So let's go through these quick though.
Okay,
so
these are movies that you've probably already seen.
But in case you haven't, these would have hit our top 10, but we felt like everybody had already seen them.
Even though one I hadn't seen before.
Okay. Number 1, Dead Zone.
This plays on TV a lot, so...
It's a Cronenberg movie, and all of his movies are great. This is Christopher Walken's, like, go-to movie.
Young Christopher Walken.
He's great in the movie. The movie's great. It's a classic, thriller, I guess. Cronenberg. Good. It's good. Dead Zone.
UHF.
A classic comedy. You should have seen it. If you haven't, you should watch it.
I saw it when I was probably like 4 or 5, and I hadn't seen it since, and it's so funny.
If you see it, you get to
It's
drink
before he was
from
like,
the fire hose.
It was before... I don't like this guy anymore. I find him fucking awful. But he's good in this. Before he got too full of himself.
Another one is what's his name? I don't remember his real name.
Kramer.
This is like Kramer's...
Michael Richards.
Yeah, this is his like breakout role, and he plays this like really endearing... This was back in the 80s when comedies would like do really horrible things to make you feel really bad for the people involved and then make you side with them. Like Kramer is he's like a retarded guy. He's a very simple retarded guy who's just a janitor, and all he has from his parents, who I assume are dead, is a mop. That's all they gave him, is a mop. That's his only possession, and they steal his mop and fire him. And he's pleading the whole way through, and it's just awful. And there's one part where they just push a little person down onto the ground, and he skins his elbow.
Old midget, and somebody pushes him down, and he looks up, and he's like, "Oh!" And it was like almost too much to bear.
It makes you hate the bad guy in all the best ways. It's a funny movie.
And Fran Drescher's in it, and she's not even that annoying in it either.
It's good. And
that fucking bitch is in it.
What bitch?
Victoria Jackson, that cunt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She seems all lovable. She's a crazy bitch.
And last is The Bad News Bears.
I had never seen this before, but you probably have seen it.
This is another movie that, like, if released now, would be considered quite intolerant.
There's racism, kids are drinking beer, kids
homophobia,
are smoking.
It's a good movie.
And Walter Matthau's in it, and even though it's 1976, he's still old.
And this actually...
and it has Tatum O'Neal in it.
Yeah, we got this because Tatum O'Neal, we wanted to see how she did, and you realize that she's not that good of an actress.
Yeah, she was just good when she was little, and it probably helped that she was with her dad.
Yeah, she was with her dad. But this movie was still...
Walter Matthau's awesome.
I mean, this movie's fucking classic. Like, anybody who knows this movie knows that it's a total classic movie, and it's very, it's fucking PG. There's no way this would get a PG rating now. But, it's a very, what's the word? Like a rough and tumble. Like,
yeah. It's
a little scrappy tough kids. In a time where it didn't matter if you gave a kid a beer to drink, I guess.
Yeah.
Good movie. And that concludes our roundup of our favorite movies of the past couple months that we've watched, and the rest. But I want to show this to conclude everything. This is The Wall.
Can you flip it?
No. All right, so this is a small amount of the collection. It goes all the way down. Here, maybe you hold it. Down, and then your thumb is just covering it. So
that was my thumb.
This is what we're gonna try to get through next week.
Ugh.
There's a lot of movies here, and whenever we seem to leave the house, we end up coming back with a few more. A few to go through. Some of these are collections of like multiple hundreds.
That whole red area down there is blaxploitation, isn't it?
No, this is all Grindhouse double features. Here's all that. Got some good stuff, kids. So subscribe down here and like it. And I'm talking to you, James.